So, what to expect when you get financial advice? People feel a little bit uneasy around financial advice. So it's kind of quietly in the background, this worry. They delay it, they sit with it, they keep turning decisions around in their head. And over time, that unease starts to cost you, and not just financially, but also mentally. In reality, that first uneasy feeling is usually the start of the advice journey. It doesn't look how people expect. There's an expectation versus reality gap. Most people think financial advice works like this. You come to an advisor with a question or a problem. The advisor then runs the numbers. You're told the answer, you implement it, end of story. In reality, real advice doesn't start with solutions. Most people expect financial advice to feel immediately reassuring, but good advice rarely works like that. The first part of advice is understanding. Understanding what you have, what you're trying to achieve, then looking at your income, spending, tax position, and how your existing plans all interact. A good analogy is to think of it a bit like going to your hair salon and getting an initial consultation. When you first seek financial advice, the stylist doesn't start cutting your hair. They first look at your hair type, face shape, how you want to style it, and what you're hoping to achieve. They're gathering information and understanding actually what will work. And even only after foundations are laid can you recommend a strategy that works. When we talk about affordability, attitude to risk, capacity for loss, and what actually makes you feel secure, nothing is fixed. Like a hair colorist does a patch test before applying dye, checking for sensitivity, reactions, or unexpected results. Risk profiling questions in financial advice serve a similar purpose. Testing how you respond to uncertainty, loss, and volatility before committing your money is not bureaucracy, it's protection. It helps ensure the plan won't cause a reaction you can't live with when markets or life changes. We're just building a clear picture. This is the moment where decisions feel very real, because you realize nothing exists in isolation. An investment decision affects tax affects cash flow flexibility affects how safe you feel. And that can feel uncomfortable. It often surprises people. This is the point actually that people misinterpret, because they think advice is supposed to make everything a lot more simpler. But technically, this stage is doing what it should. It's turning vague worry into specific trade-offs, which feels harder, but it's actually progress. An example that comes to mind is the pension decision. Someone comes in asking whether they should consolidate old workplace pensions. The premise is that they had to change their job a few times and they want to put all pensions into one place. On the surface, it seems like a simple admin question. But during discovery phase, it becomes clear that they also have other plans. They want to reduce their hours at work within 2 years. They're considering helping their child with a house deposit. They're worried about inheritance tax. Suddenly, the pension consolidation isn't the main question anymore. It's part of a wider strategy around cash flow, gifting, tax efficiency, and flexibility. The answer isn't yes or no. It is about timing, structure, and what else needs to happen. Once that picture is clear, and that's when the strategy can come in. Different options are researched and different ways forward are tested, and the plan is shaped around goals, time horizon, tax position, behaviour, and lifestyle. At this stage, there's often more than one technically viable option, and the role of advice isn't to pretend there's a perfect answer, it's to help you understand which option works for you. Clarity comes in as a decision that feels considered and reasoned, one that you can understand and explain. It's also one you're less likely to undo when markets, emotions, or circumstances change. Only once you're comfortable with the strategy anything get implemented. Nothing happens by default. Nothing is rushed. And crucially, nothing goes ahead without understanding and agreement. Long-term advice doesn't end there. Life changes. It evolves. Priorities change. Your decisions now aren't always going to stand the test of time. And plans need to be reviewed to stay relevant with regulation, with updated tax changes. And then so that ongoing relationship is where decisions align over time, so they continue to stay relevant. So if the advice journey feels a bit more messier or slower than you expected, that's not a red flag. It's usually a sign that decisions are being made at the right amount of depth. Good financial advice isn't about removing the uncertainty. It's about helping you understand and make decisions that you can live with. That's what the process is designed to do. That's all I wanted to explain today. I hope you found it useful, I hope you found it interesting, and I will see you in the next one.